I have faith that the Constitution will not be saved in Washington.
One of our brethren some years ago spoke of the payment of tithing as fire insurance. Nonetheless, the word of the Lord is clear, that those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming.
We do not say that all of the saints will be spared and saved from the coming day of desolation, from the atomic holocausts that surely shall be.
Second coming of Jesus Christ,
from the storm, and from wrath, when it shall be poured out without measure upon the whole earth, dreaded or denied by the wicked, this hinge point of history.
If there are any among this people who should ever apostatize, prepare your backs for a good whipping.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Travis Wayne Goodsall. I see I'm being cyber attacked this morning again. With the tanking of my views comes the tanking of the comments telling me to go kill myself. The hate of Mormons. I noticed that I had taken the lead on my Oaks video over Exmo Lex's Oaks video. Exmo Lex covered something insignificant of Oaks and did not cover what I covered about Oaks. She missed it. Do you know what it is? Did you watch my video on Oaks? Did you watch her video on Oaks? She covered the part where Oaks said that Mormons are to leave us alone. I covered the part where he said that the Lorenzo Snow video is now literal history truth. See, Exmo Lex is too young to remember that video. This is where age beats out beauty. God, getting too old. Kill me now. Mormons are ineffective. They keep talking the talk. They don't do it. So, yeah, in case you missed those other videos of mine, Nelson has declared war on America and Jerusalem. The Jewish religion is not Christian religion. This is a simple thing for anyone to comprehend, even a little kid, and yet Mormons won't get it, just like Christians won't get it. Because it was Christianity's first creed that turned the Jewish scriptures into literal history. The scriptures are not literal history. That's why there's so many scientific problems with them. Just like the Book of Mormon being turned into literal history. It's not literal history because the Book of Mormon says it's in the learning of the Jews. A real simple thing to comprehend, and yet 4 billion people on the earth today believe Constantine's big lie. Next year is the 1700th anniversary of it. And not a single Christian is announcing the celebration for it. They can't, because if they admit the creation of Christianity 1700 years ago, they have to admit that it's the creed that turned the Jewish scriptures into Christian, calling them literal history, replacing the Jewish Christ with fake idol god Jesus in violation of the Jewish Ten Commandments. Again, there are consequences. Too many people do things and deny the consequences and are upset when the consequences happen. So, when Nelson says that Jesus will govern over Jerusalem, really? Jerusalem already has a government. How is Jesus going to take it over? Just going to appear before the Jews and say, hand me over your government? Or I'll turn on my brights, burn you to a crisp? Really? Consequences, guys. And so, Jesus, Nelson also said, he will also reign in New Jerusalem in America. Where? Which government is he going to threaten here in America? Well, obviously the United States. And not a single one of you caught it. That Nelson is calling for the second coming. Not in 2026, when the temple's finished. In the coming days. He said judgment. Judgment Day is Saturday for the Jews. But he does not tell you this. He never will give you days and hours. Because he's not a revelator. He's the enemy. And so as the enemy, they have to have backup plans in case their plans fail. And so yes, Saturday is a planned terrorist attack. But if it fails, he has a backup plan. And if that fails, he has another backup plan. If that fails, he has another backup plan. Remember, Oaks got leaked by a sister missionary, naughty, naughty girl, in 2020, when Oaks confessed to the Las Vegas missionaries on the 14th of March. 2020 is just a test run for the second coming of Jesus. Second coming of Jesus is a code word for terroristic attack to coup the government. So what happened in 2020? Mormons have been getting arrested for it, smearing poop on the Capitol walls. And so here we are, 2024. This is not a test. This is a national security crisis. Domestic terrorists are coupping America. And our federal government is in on the plot because they're not stopping them. Again, an Afghani got caught before an attack. He got caught having just the plans to attack. Notice the difference? We had a Pakistani before this, and then we had a group of 8 or 10, all caught merely planning an attack. We know the coup is on. It's no longer just a plan. And our federal government still won't get them. That should scare you. Because one of the backup plans for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the election, tampering with it. Anybody remember 2008 with Prop 8? Church was at risk of losing their tax-exempt status for getting involved in politics. Harris is for getting abortion rights back. Trump is not, but he's the defender of women. Your rapist kidnapper is saying he's your defender. I grew up with white supremacist Christian nationalist bears as a kid. You know, I didn't take them seriously back then, but I was horrified about what they wanted to do to women, what they wanted to do to gays back then. We didn't have LGBTQIAPO plus of psychology. And to the poor, and to immigrants from Mexico, and those who were not the white master race, and those who were disabled, and those who were elderly. They hate everyone. They are anarchists. Albert Pike calls them nihilists. If you recall the letter to Giuseppe Mazzini plotting all of this. This is a 200-year-old plot. They're not happy with America creating a constitutional republic. And so all these years they've been trying to break us down. And this year, led by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the CEO, baby name meaning Lucifer, is gonna do it. You didn't know you had a baby name meaning? You got to be careful with the Bible one, because there's a lot of errors. You know, like Samson, they Google search says son child. Son king. And Emmanuel, no dear God, what a botched up job that was by a Christian who wrote it in the original text before the creation of Christianity. Not writing it in before. The documents before. So abortion. The church is tampering with abortion for this election. And the audacity of the church with the church news last night. I'm considering doing a quick video on that. Prop 8, 2024, election tampering of women's rights. Everything is a political issue. If it's put on the election to be voted for, it's politics. Church can't deal with politics. Otherwise, they have to lose their tax-exempt status. Here they are again. After Prop 8, they are now tampering with women's rights. Consequences, Mormons. Just because the church wants it done doesn't mean that the consequences are going to be perfect. All priesthood holders know that any implementation of a new program is not inspired. Just in my lifetime alone, I have seen many a program from the first presidency and the Quorum of the 12 fall flat on its face. We know them by their fruits. And so, following the covenant path has consequences. And Mormons are wicked, not following Nelson's covenant path, but attacking other people who criticize the church. You see from Helaman chapter 6 that this secret band of Gadianton, if applied to the church, sure enough, they have their secret oaths and covenants. Mormons are not allowed to tell what goes on in the temple covenant path, but Nelson keeps referring to it. That means you as a Mormon have to be faithful by paying a full tithe. Number 10. And then go regularly to the temple to hear what you are to obey, as Nelson orders you to follow the covenant path. That's his thing this whole time. And Mormons are being wicked, but weaponized to attack other people who are criticizing. You know this is wrong, and yet you're doing it. And so, little Nemo is in the social media news lately for getting excommunicated. I call him Little Nemo because that's what he used to be. When he started YouTube, he was a fence-sitting Mormon. He was seeing problems with the church. But he was still Mormon, faithful, going to church on Sunday, paying his tithing, wearing his underwear. And video after video, he was getting popular, but he was being critical. Violation of the law of the gospel. It's wrong to criticize leaders of the church, even when that criticism is correct. So said Oakes in his BBC interview years ago. That if I were to post the little tiny video clip, YouTube would ban it from England, because England blocks it. And then my views would tank, just like the one news clip I did a couple of weeks ago, in which all French-speaking countries block it. And then YouTube punished me for that, calling it a copyright violation for French-speaking countries. That clip from the BBC documentary, which is fair use, nonetheless, gets flagged by YouTube's algorithms to punish the creator for non-criminal copyright, non-copyright violations, claiming it is a copyright violation, and so I can't use it. But nonetheless, I have it, because fair use. And so little Nemo would eventually do videos about his bestest buddy out there in England, who got excommunicated for being critical on his YouTube channel. And so little Nemo was critical. How could they do that? He did nothing wrong. He's faithful. I don't understand. Faith bubble's starting to burst for little Nemo. Not being obedient to the covenant path. And so, John DeLynn got a hold of him, interviewed him, had him share his feelings. And now little Nemo is excommunicated. It was the natural consequences of going against this church, even though little Nemo didn't think he was. You went against the covenant path, and you got punished for it. Mormons do not understand the consequences. And so, with Project 2025 and the votes across the nation for abortion, nobody is catching on. Still to this day, nobody in the news is reporting this. Women are born already. They're grown women. They are citizens. American citizens with all the rights of life, liberty, and property. But with SCOTUS, who were put in by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints through the Council for National Policy, with the Heritage Foundation, Leonard Leo, other figures of Spectre, the Supreme Court overthrew Roe v. Wade, violating the 14th Amendment, Section 1. And so now the debate over whether a woman has rights over sperm, embryo, and fetus are now being complicated when they shouldn't be. Because the 14th Amendment, Section 1, makes it very clear who has rights and who doesn't. If you are born, you are a citizen. The woman is born. She's a citizen. She has rights to life, liberty, and property. Not sperm, embryo, and fetus. And so it's no question, abortions must be allowed by medical doctors. It's in the Constitution. But because SCOTUS committed a coup, it's now complicated and being used as a threat for this very election on purpose. All set up by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as a backup plan. And so the church has always hated women, and women don't get it. You are not obeying the covenant path. The law of obedience. Women must obey their husband. And you've been duped into thinking that you no longer obey your husband. You now obey Jesus, who speaks for Jesus, the prophet. What does the prophet tell you to obey? The family proclamation. And what does the family proclamation tell you to obey? Your husband. But you're an equal partner. Isn't that special? Don't you feel good about it? You better feel good about it. And so I'm a witness to this abusive consequences. My own parents. I didn't understand what was going on when mommy and daddy would go into their master bedroom and be heard yelling. And then when it was all said and done, mommy lost each and every single time. because Daddy would pull the law of obedience card on her. Keep the covenant path, Judy. She didn't really like him. She married him out of duty to the church. And plus she was getting to be a spinster. 24 years of age. Dear God. And so when I got married, I then became a victim of my wife not obeying the covenant path. Now, I didn't demand that she obey me. Because of my experience with Mommy and Daddy, I wanted nothing to do with that for my marriage. And so I gave her her agency, let her do whatever she wanted to do. And she became a prostitute and tried to hurt me. And tried to usurp the presiding authority. And then in the end, she left with the help of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and both our parents, along with some others. Not keeping the covenant path leads to consequences. My mother, likewise. Going back to the abortion issue, when I was 17 years of age, my mom decided to have another baby. And she miscarried several times before she finally had Tabitha. Under the abortion ban for Project 2025, if that were to take effect, and that were in effect when I was 17, my mom would be arrested for murder. If she got medical doctors to help her, those medical doctors would be locked up for assisting in a murder. They would have their licenses revoked, never to practice medicine again, for simply trying to save her life with the miscarriage. Again, 14th Amendment, Section 1 has been overthrown, and they're just working to try to make it official. Consequences, people. My mom is a neo-Nazi Mormon. A white supremacist, Christian nationalist, trad wife Mormon. And yet she would be locked up for murder. Men never get locked up for murder with all of the multi-billions of sperm that get wasted in a man's lifetime. Even though a sperm has more rights than a woman now. All of the atrocity of it all that sperm going to waste. Consequences, Mormons, for disobeying the covenant path. Law of sacrifice. Mormons are somewhat obedient on this one. You got to protect the church from criminal prosecution, even if you have to give up your own life. So yes, all of the hate comments I got over conference weekend, yeah, they were just being obedient, even though they disobeyed Oaks. Even though they disobeyed Nelson from a previous conference. See, being good does not mean hurt other people. And yet somehow there's a disconnect in Mormons' brains on this, thinking, well, Jesus orders me to do it, so it's love. Cruel to be kind, in the right measure. And so Mormons don't get it with the law of sacrifice, because also, if you paid attention, as Jesus Christ laid down his life for the redemption of mankind, even so shall we covenant to sacrifice all that we possess, even our own lives if necessary, in sustaining and defending the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Your tithing is atonement money for paying back Jesus' atonement. And if Christians knew about that, they'd freak out more than other things that they freak out about the church for. Because Christians say that Jesus' atonement means that all they have to do is believe and they're saved. No works whatsoever. And yet, they don't catch on, I guess, when they convert to the church and they have to start paying atonement money ransom to the church for Jesus. It's also a prostitution price for the law of obedience, because men are not allowed to think sexy thoughts. We have been told numerous times when we used to have priesthood session of conference that not only can we not touchy-touchy, we can't even thinky-thinky. We have to sing a hymn, read our scriptures, pray, go to the temple, do service for other people. Anything to not think about it. And what are the consequences? Yeah, I don't think we even know the number of rapes in Utah alone by Mormons. Abstinence only leads to rape. And it's the public school system's version of sex ed in the state of Utah. And so, yes, the church profited off of this. They purposely miseducated you on sex ed so that women would get raped as little girls, and then the church would tell the girl that she was wicked. She allowed this to happen with her slutty ways, and then now has to have the baby because abortion is evil, and then give it up to the church's adoption agency of human trafficking to good, rich, white Mormon parents. The church stopped it only because of the gay marriage that went nationwide after Prop 8. And then Obama's nationalizing it. The church didn't want gays to have rape babies. Rape baby Jesus didn't have gay parents, therefore nobody shall have rape babies who are gay. This is how they justify it. It's sick and twisted. Consequences. You must obey the covenant path. You are a prostitute. Because as men cannot even think about sex, can't even masturbate, which is a natural impulse in order to have babies. Seed orgasm, egg orgasm, baby! intense pain beyond what can be comprehended. Men can't even comprehend the pain that a woman goes through in childbirth. Isn't that fun? One night of orgasm for who knows how many hours, depending on the woman, depending on which child, of pain. Which suffering causes mother to bleed from every orifice. Well, yeah, there's some things to be worked out removing Christianity from Scripture. But then we have the law of the gospel. Can't criticize the leaders of the church. You must be fully loyal. And they started it right at the start of conference. You must be loyal to us. Everything we tell you in this conference, you must obey and believe. This is the knife for you younger generations. You're supposed to kill yourself if you violate your temple covenant path. Remember the law of sacrifice again? They haven't removed it. They just got rid of the penalty tokens and signs from Helaman chapter 6. And then Nelson in 2019 added Jesus' higher law. Find it in scriptures, not Bruce R. McConkey's chapter heading in the Book of Mormon. Find it in the scriptures. You can't, you won't. It's not there. It doesn't exist. So what are they talking about? What is the higher law? Well, the afterlife, we are told, has 3 kingdoms of glory. And they are based upon laws. And then the celestial glory, which is the highest, has the 3rd highest kingdom. There are 3 degrees in the celestial kingdom. And the highest of the high has the highest law. The higher law of Jesus. But Brigham Young, the year before he died, removed Joseph Smith's section on monogamy and then put in section 131, but gutting Joseph Smith talking to Benjamin Franklin Johnson and the one wife that Joseph only knew of, saying that their marriage will get them exalted in the highest degree of the celestial kingdom. Gutted. So all you have left is what you see and read in section 131. That leads right into Brigham Young's 132. But he framed and blamed Joseph, so it must be true. Despite the still Mormon guy who's following Little Nemo. No, no, no. In the coming days, the church will excommunicate you. Must be loyal to the church. You must believe what the church tells you to believe. Church tells you to believe Joseph Smith was a polygamist. Don't you come out with the Kirtland Papers document that the community of Christ had the whole time and knew the whole time that Joseph Smith said polygamy is awful and wrong. The church says he was a polygamist. So that document cannot be leaked, and you leaked it. Shame on you. You're violating the law of the gospel. You're violating the law of sacrifice. You were supposed to destroy that document so that nobody would know about it, not even the historian who you interviewed to give you permission to look at it. But he won't stop. He got a lot of views. And so he's view hungry. So he keeps repeating the same information in different presentations to get as much people to his exposure. You're violating your temple covenants. Still Mormon. Learn from little Nemo. So yes, polygamy. Child bride. Polygamy. And so if you paid attention, Nelson lowered the age of girls to 11 to go to the temple. Isn't that great? But those naughty Arizonans went beyond the words of the living prophet of Jesus and tried to get the law passed from back in the Civil War era for 10-year-old girls. Naughty Mormons, not keeping your temple covenant path. And so yes, then we go right into the law of polygamy, child bride polygamy. Mormons are not keeping your temple covenant path. Cheating on your wife or your spouse does not make you obedient. Polygamy is the higher law of Jesus. Not cheating on your spouse. Not sharing in swinging parties with your wife. Child, bride, polygamy. There's a big difference. I'm sure if you were to go to a porn channel that's been banned in Utah, they would explain it for you. It's still banned in Utah. You cannot watch porn in Utah. Still to this day. You have to go to YouTube to watch all your porn. And YouTube wants to find it because apparently their algorithms suck at it. But they've been banning women just for the sake of being women and skipping all the porn channels, porn videos. You gotta understand, porn is a woman who's not covering up her underwear of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's too provocative, too sexy. She's too sexy as a woman, too sexy as a woman, too sexy. I don't like singing I'm too sexy for, that's a guy thing. The guy, girls. The weather girls. It's raining men. Come on, women. Let women rain down. You're making it difficulty. It's causing conflict in me when I want to sing the song. And so yes, child bride polygamy. Mormons are not keeping their covenant path. There are consequences for disobedience, and Nelson's already got it set up to murder you for your disobedience. You got to keep your covenant path or you must die. You first wives, you need to be getting your husband other wives to breed with. Not just to be married to. Remember, barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. Trad, Mormon wife. You must obey your husband, you must breed. And once you start having miscarriages, you're now a criminal. You need to be put to death for your murder. Thus needing other women to take care of the children after you are put to death for your murder. But you got to get your husband those other women. Your husband, if he comes to you with his selected choice, you need to accept it. Down to 11 years old, not 10 in Arizona. You must keep your covenant path. There are consequences. The consequences of violation is death, blood atonement, and then slavery, the law of consecration. See, I'm an evil, apostate, anti-Mormon, antichrist Korahor, teaching you from the scriptures what the real law of consecration is, not the covenant path consecration. Slavery. Men must work to build the kingdom, not just the prostitution price for his wives. And if you can't afford more wives, you need to get a better job that pays more. And then give it all to the church. But how do you take care of your wife? Well, you won't. You're wicked, not keeping your covenant path. Leaders are righteous and keep the covenant path. They get the women, not you. But if you work hard, you can, maybe, in the future. It might be after you're dead. And you'll never know that the leaders have the wives because out of sight, out of mind. They're porn. And so to avoid you from having thoughts and then taking action on those thoughts of porn, because masturbation turns you gay. Did you not catch that in the clip that I put in for Kimball? God will not be mocked. Don't touch it, you'll turn gay. You must keep your temple covenants. You must follow the covenant path, or you must be destroyed. You become an enemy, kicking the pricks of the righteous. In the coming days. So yeah, I'm considering making shorter clips of at least the abortion thing from the church news. And doing some more Nelson clip videos. We'll see what I can do today. Oh yeah, Bill Nye. Bill Nye is getting interviewed lots for Milton that's coming in. Again, everybody's prophesying and revealing the day and the hour of when it's coming, and today is it. Category 5, last I saw. Biggest in 100 years. This will utterly destroy Florida. I haven't checked to see if my package made it out of the target zone. But there are people who are saying they're staying. They are on a death wish. But the church will never prophesy and reveal, because they're the cause of the terrorism. And so they have backup plans so that they can be general and talk about judgment, so that if Judgment Day on Saturday doesn't happen, then they have backup plans, so that whenever something succeeds, then they can go, see, it was Jesus. It wasn't us, even though it was. but you'll never know about it because all our works are in secret. That Travis, he's lying even though he's correct. Trying to save your lives. We are Zion.